Hi, guys, and welcome to MSI Predictions PCS Caster Edition. I'm Jennifer Ridgely. With me today is Calvin, and we're here to give you guys a rundown of the teams at MSI. Of course, if you haven't heard the news already, PSG will be playing MSI with a sub as their ADC Unified has pneumothorax and is unable to make the flight over to Iceland. However, they did manage to get the agreement of Dinter and Beyond Gaming to borrow their AD carry Doggo for the competition. Calvin, how do we think this affects PSG's chances at MSI?
Yeah, look, I think PSG, as a very dominant team, I think they will still perform pretty up to par. However, Doggo is one of those players where I criticized a lot during the split, and he did get caught out quite a few times in late game team fights, and that's like sort of like the rookie part of him that kicks in. And if that does happen in MSI, I do see PSG struggling against some teams.
Yeah, I like how you brought up the fact that Doggo is kind of the rookie going into this. He was a rookie going into PCS Spring Split this time around. I think this is his first international competition abroad as well. And also, when you just look at Doggo versus Unified, just pound for pound as AD carries, Unified was such a big part of how PSG were so dominant during Spring Split. Like, what, 100% win rate on Kaisa the entire split? Just absolutely insane stats. Also, just his positioning in team fights. Like, Unified was just always there to be that stable AD carry over in the bot side and then dishing out damage during those fights later on. But then you look at Doggo, as you're talking about, just a couple of mistakes here and there where I think that, I mean, he does have some really good strengths. For example, I think Doggo is a great laner. He does put a lot of pressure on the enemy teams, which is going to be very important, especially in this group. We'll talk more about that later. But as you're talking about, just in that team fight, it's just not quite up to snuff.
Yeah, I mean, Doggo and Kaiwing as like a duo, they will probably bring a different dynamic than Unified Kaiwing, right? Unified Kaiwing is always that PSG safety net, right? If all else fails, you will have Unified there just trying to carry the entire team. And, without Unified, it just means that PSG probably has to shift their focus a little bit towards Maple. And, I really want to see Maple stepping up in this tournament.
Yeah, I agree because the way that PSG were playing during the entirety of Spring Split was pretty much mid, jungle, and bot all have potential to carry the game. And then you just have Hanabi picking something for the team. I'm not saying he can't carry, but just the way that they usually draft is they give Hanabi a tank or some form of utility over in the top side. But now that they do have a Doggo as their to carry, that might shift their dynamic as you were talking about. Also, I think the Doggo Kaiwing bot lane, I just envision it to be like any support that Uzi has ever played with, or like that Deft has ever played with, where they're like, no, don't go forward. Not yet. I'm not there. Don't 1v2. That's just how I imagine like that lane's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a lot of times where Kaiwing is probably going to go roaming, and then like it would contradict with Doggo's playstyle a little bit, right? Doggo wants to play lane, whereas Kaiwing, a lot of the time you just see him early reset, runs to mid lane, helps Maple get a couple kills, and then that's like the perfect setup for PSG, right? You've got River going aggressive, and then you've got Maple, just getting kills, getting themselves ahead, and just be like, and PSG just be like, challenge us, try to make play against us, and then it's just going to fail. And PSG going into MSI, they probably lose the privilege to do that. However, I still think, like we said, right, they have a weak side top laner, they still have that strong mid and bot lane. I think for the most part, they will still perform. It's just that there's like just the X factor in Doggo.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're definitely hoping that Doggo manages to pull out all the stops for MSI at his first competition. And also, just talking about these teams, I mean, these teams don't just perform in a vacuum. We've got to take a look at the other teams in Group B. Just to remind everyone else, PSG from PCS is in Group B together with Mad Lions from the LEC, Wildcats from TCL, as well as Pain Gaming from CV Lol. Calvin, how do we think this group is going to stack up?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainties in this group because when you look at all the teams, right,
Hmm.
and like in their respective region, only PSG qualified to MSI as the split champion, as in like not the playoffs champion, but like just like the regular split champion. Matt Lyon was third place in LEC, Pain Gaming was fifth place, and Wildcat was second place. So a lot of these teams only stepped up like really, really hugely in playoffs. And whether these teams can carry the momentum into MSI is going to be the biggest question.
Yeah, I agree. I think also the fact that we have a best of one double round robin format is also kind of just means that, anything can happen. I personally just love MSI every year in that we see a lot of teams come in to international competition, and for a couple of them, they're super dominant within their own domestic leagues, but you're never really too sure how the teams will shake out versus the strong teams from the other regions until we see them at MSI. So I'm pretty hyped.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hyped as well because when you look at Group B, this is literally the battle of the mid lane and bot lanes. Every
Mm-hmm.
single team, Pain Gaming, Wildcats, Mad Lion, PSG, they all have their focus in mid and bot. And when you have like four teams that literally plays a similar style, it's going to be a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Matt Lyon is probably the biggest contender against PSG, and both teams coming from basically a major region. They have the experience, they have the skill level, and I feel like they are the team to look at in this group. And on the other side, I think when you look at Pain Gaming and Wildcats, right, they didn't qualify as like the first seed in regular splits, and therefore maybe just maybe like they might sort of fumble a little bit on stage in MSI. International events is just gives you different pressure. Like there's such a different vibe in this tournament, and if they aren't able to stand up to that pressure, then we will just see PSG and Matt Lyon have a very easy time in this group.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about that pressure, also like Doggo at his first international competition. I'm a huge Doggo fan. I really hope that that pressure is going to make him do even better. I think the thing is like when we were watching Doggo play on Beyond Gaming for the entirety of the PCS spring split, it just kind of felt as if sometimes Doggo wants to go forward or Doggo has like a game plan, but the rest of his team just isn't quite on the same page. So I'm really excited to see how Doggo can perform when the rest of his team is PSG. So I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm being too hopeful here, but yeah, I'm hoping for good things coming out from him. But let's touch really quickly on Group A as well as Group C. So Group A, of course, the VCS team were unable to make it to Iceland because of a lot of visa issues, travel issues. Very unfortunate, of course. This is not the first international competition that the team has
Yeah.
missed. But it does mean that Group A, since they only have three teams, are going to play a different format. I believe it's going to be a quadruple round robin best of one for the three teams in Group A, which is like 8 games.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot. Like each team has to play 8 games, and I was kind of surprised because like
Same.
what that means is like the three teams, RNG, PGG, and also
UOL, yeah.
UOL. Yeah, I mean they have to play each other, for a total of 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other teams in like PSG and Group B, like the Group C teams, they only have to play each other twice, which results into 6 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is, the latter is going to mean a lot more than Group B and C because that is exactly like the strength between the teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Royal Never Give Up is definitely the strongest team within three, but then a lot of the question comes down to PGG and UOL. Which team is better? UOL does have 4 out of 5 players that has been to 2020 Worlds. Whereas PGG, they're a completely new team. It's literally 5 veterans from Oceanic region, from the basically the leftovers of OPL. forming a team and just stomping through the entire tournament. And this team, whether they can step up and just follow like Legacy's achievement last year is the biggest question.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it also ties into the format that we were talking about earlier, because usually when you think best of one format, if it's something like a double round robin, you're kind of thinking, okay, anything can happen. Even if you're what we call a traditionally weaker team, there is always that chance of that upset in that best of one. The thing is, if you're playing a quadruple round robin like this, I think by the time you go for like the third or the fourth round of the round robin, it comes down to really just how fast the teams can adapt to each other's playstyle. Because you look at the three teams, right, and say, okay, RNG, they 3-1 Fun plus Phoenix. Whether or not, we were expecting that 3-1 in the LPL finals is a different thing, but it's pretty much, Gala Show down in bot, and then plus the rest of the roster absolutely stacked as well. We've got Xiaohu role swapping to the top lane for this season. But yeah, we're thinking, there's RNG, and then you look at UOL as well as Pentanet. I think if this were a shorter round robin format, I would say, there is that chance of the upset. Maybe like a Pabu gets some sort of creative jungle pathing going on, some crazy level 2, level 3 happening to get that early snowball for Pentanet. But now that the fact that it's a quadruple round robin, that's going to be hard.
It's literally like more than a best of 3, right? You play each other 4 times. Like best of 3, at most you're playing each other 3 times. So, like a lot of the cheese tactic is basically only applicable like either at the beginning of the round robin or like at the end of the round robin, right? Like, the second game, the third game, it's very hard to continuously come up with like unexpected strategies and expect them to work. So definitely looking forward to that. And I just want to see something interesting, maybe something like a Rammus pick or something. Pabu is known to be that innovator.
Are you leaking strats? Jeez.
No, actually I'm not.
Region, Calvin.
No, okay, so personally I do not know what Pabu plays. I think he has been in Iceland for I think a couple of days now.
I think I'm not sure, because I know they were still traveling yesterday, but because of like the transit, he had to
it's like translate and like time zone and stuff, so
I remember he had to like transit through Singapore, and I was like, oh my god, like wave through the glass wall at the airport or something. But yeah, let's touch really quickly onto group number C. It's going to be Damwon Gaming, the LCK representatives, C9 from North American LCS, Infinity Esports from LLA, as well as Detonation Focus Me from the LJL Japan. What do we think?
I think this is the group with like almost zero doubts, right? Like Damwon is going to come out ahead. I don't really see any chance for like even Cloud9 to sort of topple the Giants here. Damwon is just so dominant in LCK, right? They were literally just stomping everyone, and T1 at the end, with that sort of like the Exodia roster, stood up against them for like one series, and that's it. So like Damwon, with this roster, without Naguri but with Khan, and also with the introduction of Koma, the coach, like I think this team is unstoppable. Like this is the team to beat for like the team to actually win MSI, right? This team has basically had the name written on like the final spot. Like that's what I would like think about them. And when you look at the rest of the teams, right, Cloud9, Dead FM, and Infinity, I think it's very hard for Dead FM and Infinity to sort of topple Cloud9 as well. Cloud9 with Perks, with Sven. I feel like this is almost like G2. Like this is like G2 Junior. And when you compare it with like LJL, when you compare it to Infinity, there's just such a big skill gap in like between the teams. And I would be very surprised to see any upsets in this group.
Yeah, I agree. Fun fact about Damwon, this Spring Championship is Khan's 5th LCK title. It's also, now that, Koma is coaching them, it's also, Koma is now tied in championship titles with Faker, because, someone jumps ship.
I just wish I can see Faker in an international event, but unfortunate for T1. They have been struggling quite a bit.
Yeah, I was really rooting for them in the semifinals, so that I think that 3-0 series was pretty rough. I think we want to really quickly touch on who we think which teams are going to make it out of each individual group, as well as the top 6 Rumble, semis, and the eventual winners. Calvin, what are we thinking? Sorry to put you on the spot first.
No, that's all right. For me, I do think RNG, and I'm just going to root for my LCO friend here for Pentanet. So I think RNG and Pentanet are going to make it out of Group A. I'm not sure what you think, but because I feel like RNG...
Not that. That's not what I think.
Not that? Not what you think. Well, I do think, RNG is like for sure the top team to make it out.
Yes,
I think
is
that
what
is
I think.
Without a doubt. I think, Pentanet versus Unicorns of Love. Unicorns of Love definitely have that world's experience, right? From 2020. However, from last year, like Legacy really stepped up as well, and I do feel like Pentanet is sort of on a similar level to Legacy, and Unicorns of Love qualifying for MSI, not being the first seed in regular season. I think that speaks a lot because they are not informed just yet. And I feel like, Pentanet for like the entire split, they have been performing really well. They only dropped one game because they played a Moomy support. That's it.
They deserved it.
They deserved
You know what? They deserved it. I'm gonna call it like I see it. They deserved it. For me, I think my Group A top 2 has got to go to RNG as well as Unicorns of Love. I mean, UOL, they've been playing in the LCL, the Russian region, since 2019. After, we all remember, they didn't manage to get a spot in the LEC after their franchise. However, UOL have been doing just pretty darn well over in the LCL. They've got something like at least 2 domestic titles back home. So I got to go with them on this one. Let's take a look at Group B. I'm like, we're PCS casters, right? So I think, this prediction for us is not unexpected, but I'm gonna go with Mad Lions and PSG. I feel like for some of the other casters, like in other regions, like they might not put PSG in second place, also because of the whole like Doggo slipping in for Unify thing. But we gotta represent, and I believe in them.
The thing is, like, PSG is one of the only 2 teams that qualified to MSI with a 3-0 in finals.
That's
the
true.
other one being Damwon Kia. Like, I
mean,
think that speaks how dominant they are.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves comparing PSG with Damwon.
I wouldn't. Like, I do think Damwon is stronger than PSG, like by quite a bit actually. But I still think though, PSG with Unified, they would be like the best in this group. I feel like they're better than Mad Lions. And now that they are with, they're running Doggo instead of Unified, I feel like, they sort of in a similar level against Mad Lions. And a lot of the things to watch is going to come down on like whether Mad Lion is playoffs Mad Lion or is it regular season Mad Lion, right? If it's regular season Mad Lions, then, they have shown that they are not that consistent, right? They've dropped a few games against the middle of the pack teams, and if they are like showing up as like the regular season Mad Lions, then PSG, I think with Doggo, even with Doggo, like they will be able to take down Mad Lions. And like I said, I feel like PSG is better than them, so I'm going to put PSG first place and then Mad Lions second.
Yeah, for sure. We also have to remember, like, the amount of confidence that came out of PSG as well. They were saying, like, their aim actually for MSI was top 4 before they had to sub in Doggo. And, like, I believe in my boys, too. Let's take a look at Group C really quickly. I'm going to go with, no surprise here, Damwon Gaming and C9.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, right? I think... Like I said just then, Infinity Esports and Dead FM, like I don't really think they can stand a chance. I think, Dead FM, even with Arya, the renowned mid laner that says, oh, this is the upcoming mid laner that is going to dominate the region, which I think he did, but I still think there's still quite a distance behind Cloud9's Perks and Damwon Kia's Showmaker.
Yeah, I agree. I have a really soft spot for Det FM in the LJL as well. And also, like, Siras is, we were talking about just not their mid laner this split, but was with them for years before this. But yeah, I want them to end top two. I just don't quite see it happening. Let's go on to the Rumble stage. Now that we do have the top six, who do we think will emerge top four out of the six teams that we just picked? Okay, we've got Damwon. We've got Damwon, we've got RNG, and I want to say PSG as well. The thing is, I don't think we have the seeding. Like, we don't really know, like, first seed, second seed, how that's going to shake up yet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like, the ideal situation or like the ideal world, for me, it would have been RNG, PSG, Damwon, and Cloud9. I feel like these four teams are the four strongest teams. Yes.
LCS over LEC. Wow.
I actually do think so, because I think Cloud9 is going to surprise a lot of people.
That's true. They also have perks. I mean...
Yeah, they also have perks, right? I think, Perks' Zven duo, they're very strong, individual players. And also, I just have to root for my boy Fudge. Like, Fudge is from Oceania. Mm-hmm. And I just want to see an Oceania player reach, like, semifinals or even finals of an international event.
Yeah, I saw the thread on Twitter. It was really funny because I think a lot of the teams, at least 3 of the teams, were transiting together at the airport. And then Pabu was like, OMG, it's Fudge. They had that little like OCE reunion at the airport. And then there are all these comments like below Fudge's tweet. And they're like, we just want to see an OCE player make it into like the top 4 at Worlds, make it happen. But yeah, I think since we don't really have the brackets for the seeding for semis just yet, let's just move on to the finals. Who do we think is going to be the MSI 2021 champion team? Is it the same prediction that you're thinking? Are we thinking the same thing? Is everyone thinking the same thing? We've all got to be thinking the same thing. Come on.
We've all got to be thinking the same thing, right? I think Damwon is going to be the one. Let's talk about who is going to, who are they going to play against, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that is the biggest question, right? It's for me, right? With my prediction in semifinals, it's going to be between RNG, PSG, and Cloud9, right? And I think of the 3, like this, the obvious one is going to be RNG.
Yep,
right? I feel like RNG is but I'm going to be spicy here, and I'm going to say Cloud9.
What?
I'm going to be I feel like Perks have the ability to carry teams all the way to finals. I feel like Perks, for the last few years, like he has been performing super, super good. And now that he reunited with Zven and, Cloud9, yes, they are an NA team, but I still think, Perks still have that EU sort of like fight power in him. Mm-hmm. And I just want to see him sort of like, run through the entire tournament, go to final. They probably have to play against Damwon Kia. They're probably going to lose, but I still want to see them in finals. I think that would be a huge achievement for NA, and also, it would boost the region as a whole.
All right, guys. On that note, that's been our MSI 2021 Predictions PCS Caster Edition. We hope you guys enjoyed our little short. Not sure how short this is going to end up eventually, but yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Of course, we hope you guys will also be tuning in to the MSI games with us, cheering PSG talent on. I know I will be. You can hit us up on our social medias, where I guess we'll be talking more about the games as well, but definitely do check out the LOL Esports PCS Twitter, as well as YouTube and Facebook social media too. That's it from us for this season. We'll see y'all again soon.